The Galactic Codex was older than most star systems. Every major civilization in the Union followed it. Trade laws, warfare limits, expansion permissions, contact restrictions. It was not just a set of rules, it was the foundation of civilized space. And humanity followed it perfectly. At first, when Earth was admitted into the Galactic Union, it was considered a model new member. Careful, respectful, predictable. Human diplomats always signed treaties without delay. Human scientists always shared discoveries through proper channels. Human ships always waited for clearance before entering restricted zones. Other species admired them. Some even called them the most disciplined newcomers in centuries. But there was something the galaxy misunderstood about humans. They did not obey rules because they were forced to. They obeyed because they believed rules were temporary agreements for mutual safety, not permanent chains. The first fracture appeared in the Ardent sector. A human research convoy requested permission to enter a classified region for study. Permission was denied under Codex Regulation 771b. The humans accepted the decision. And then they waited. 3 weeks later, the entire Ardent anomaly was gone. Not destroyed. Not extracted. Just stabilized into a harmless state that no longer required restriction. The Galactic Council was confused. No violation had been recorded. But something had clearly changed without approval. Then it happened again. And again. Restricted zones began losing their restricted status. Dangerous space lanes became safe routes. Quarantine systems became self-correcting environments. Every time the Codex tried to enforce limitation, reality no longer matched the classification. The Council summoned human representatives. "Explain your actions," they demanded. The human delegate responded calmly. "We followed your rules." A pause. "We also completed the outcomes those rules were meant to achieve." Confusion spread, because nothing in the Codex allowed for completion without permission. But humans had found something the galaxy had never considered. Rules were not reality. They were instructions. And instructions could be fulfilled without waiting for approval. Then came the Varkos incident. A planetary war erupted between two Union-aligned species. The Codex demanded a controlled response protocol. Human ships arrived first. Not as fighters. As system analysts. Within hours, the war stopped. Not through force, but because both sides suddenly found their supply chains rerouted, their communication delays corrected, and their strategic advantages neutralized. The war simply stopped working. A council strategist finally realized the pattern. They are not breaking the rules. A pause. They are removing the need for rules to be enforced. That was the beginning of fear, because enforcement meant authority, and authority required compliance. But humanity was doing something else entirely. They were building systems where non-compliance was no longer functional. Then came the final Codex emergency session. All member species demanded action against Earth. The accusation was simple. Humanity was operating outside approved limitations. But when the Codex audit ran, something terrifying appeared. Earth was not violating rules. Earth was updating them through results. Every human action that broke a rule had produced. Heavy checkmark stabilized regions. Heavy checkmark reduced conflict. Heavy checkmark improved interstellar safety. Heavy checkmark increased system efficiency. The Codex flagged it as unapproved but optimal outcomes. The Council could not argue with data, but they could not accept it either, because it meant something dangerous. Humanity was no longer following the galactic rules. They were replacing the need for them. Then Earth sent a final message.
No aggression. No defiance.
Just clarity. We stopped following the rules that required permission to improve outcomes. A pause. Because improvement does not require approval. The Codex attempted one last directive. Full compliance enforcement across all human systems. It failed instantly. Not due to resistance, but because the enforcement logic itself returned an error. Target system no longer depends on Codex structure. Humanity had not rebelled. They had not withdrawn. They had simply created parallel systems where the galactic rules were no longer necessary for function. The final line from Earth became legendary across the galaxy. We did not stop following your rules. We outgrew the need for them. And in the centuries that followed, the Galactic Codex was still officially active. But in practice, it was only applied where humanity was not involved. Because wherever humans existed, rules were no longer required to produce order.